Information Station 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, just about 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Monday morning. You know, when you know somebody for a long time, Robin, as you and I have known each other for a long time,
Yes.
you risk telling a story to that person again, a story you've told before. And the older I get, the more I realize that this is common for all of us. And we've had a relationship with our listeners for a very long time. But I am confident I've never told them this story. I want to tell them this story. I remember learning how to read. I remember my teacher, whatever grade it was in, asking the class, how many of you know why you want to learn how to read? And I raised my hand because I knew right away, this is going to show my age too, by the way. I actually remember watching some shows on TV that were old silent shows like the Little Rascals and things like that, that literally were not closed caption, but that's what we call it now, closed caption. But back then, the subtitles, right? They call them subtitles. And I remember wanting to be able to read what it said in the subtitles. Now, you don't see that anymore, right? Because that was years ago. That was in the early 60s, obviously. But nevertheless, this is what I'm getting at here. That opportunity that I was offered by public schools, in that case, to learn how to read is something we take for granted. I take it for granted. I never realized that everybody didn't have that same wonderful blessing. And there's a couple of different reasons. A, maybe you were with some kind of financial crisis. Your family went through some kind of crisis. Maybe you weren't born here. There's all kinds of reasons why somebody might not know how to read, or know how to read English might be more appropriate if you're talking about somebody who wasn't born here. They might be able to read their own language. A few years ago, we were introduced to a wonderful organization called the Marion County Literacy Council, and some awesome, giving, loving people, and we fell in love with them right away. We tried to make a big difference for them in our own little way, but there's no way we'll ever be able to compete with the people who really make a big difference. And Karen Hill is one of those people. Dr. Manal Fakhoury is another one of those people. She, from what I understand, is on her way here. And Jim Nelson is somebody we met once before, and we're getting to know him now. He's in the studio. He's the campaign chairman for the Changing Lives One Gift at a Time campaign for the Marion County Literacy Council, and he's here to tell us what that is exactly, and also to promote the grand opening, which is happening on Thursday, I think, if I have my notes right here. And they have moved from, let's see, if I remember Karen's story, they had a little tiny room in the Chamber of Commerce when they started. Now they've got this beautiful building, thanks to a grant, in what used to be the Goldman Appliance building. So, Jim Nelson, good morning, Jim.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And I heard you tell Robin that your wife is actually a student?
My wife is a student. That's how I got involved. Natalie's from Russia.
From Russia, okay.
And she is what we would call an ESOL student. She's English speaking, but wants to learn more, of course, and she has a ball with the idioms and the things that we have in our crazy language here. I bet
that's fun. I bet she can observe things from her perspective that we kind of don't notice, like break a leg when you go on stage or things like that, right?
I've had to be probably overly proper.
Oh, really?
with my language since Natalie and I met, because you can say, well, there you go again, and she'll, well, which there is it?
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. So not to get too personal, I know you want to talk about the Literacy Council. How'd you meet?
We actually met on the internet.
On the internet?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I visited her and Natalie in Russia, and she came over here and visited, and then we decided last year in April that we would get married, and we did.
Perfect name for a Russian, isn't it? Natalie?
Natalie. Yeah.
It just seems like there are a lot of Natalies over there?
A lot. Natalie, Natasha, pretty much synonymous, but yeah, a lot.
So what about you? Where do you come from? I mean, what is your background?
I'm originally from Pennsylvania, moved to South Florida when I was about a mere lad, and spent the rest of my time there until 2004. I moved to Ocala, While in South Florida, I got involved with the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, Broward chapter, and chaired their MS walk in Fort Lauderdale for 4 years.
Oh, wow. It's another thing we take for granted is our health, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you became involved with the Literacy Council because your wife was a student?
Yeah, I was looking for a way to give back. And when we got Natalie enrolled, I was volunteered, so to speak. For those of you in the listening audience who know Karen Hill, never say you were involved with anything if you don't want to be involved with something now. So I was recruited to come and work on the campaign, and then I was asked to be the chairman of this campaign to change lives one gift at a time, to change lives one word at a time.
I got you. So how does your campaign work? So in other words, you're in charge of your own campaign. Is it your brainchild? Are you the guy who thought of it?
No, we put it all together. It's a committee effort.
So let's say I bump into you in the grocery store and you want to introduce me to this program. What do you tell me?
I'll tell you that we have opportunities for you to help our adults in Marion County. Marion County has a 19% adult illiteracy rate. That means 19% of the adults in the county can't read at the most basic level.
Right.
A parent is a child's first teacher. So we've got to work on that. We've got 252 students and 100 volunteer tutors. And there are lots of success stories. We've got, this year alone, we've had 4 students pass the citizenship tests. And we have 2 very good testimonials on our YouTube video from students who've passed. A young man says, "Thanks to my literacy skills, I won't have to wash dishes for the rest of my life."
Yeah, wow.
That's amazing.
Wow, that's really true too. Yeah. So do we know, I mean, is it possible that 19% is an underestimate? Is it possible we've got people who just never confess that they don't know how to read?
It's quite possible. 19% seems to be the national average.
Okay. Now, of that 19%, is it people who can't read at all or can't read English? And in other words, like your wife, she could read Russian.
And Nellie can read English. She's just improving her skills because,
I got you. Okay.
Because she wants to get into the job market at some point.
Right.
And so that's her goal. In order to be functional, as we all know, you really need to know English.
By the way, you know the Russian alphabet, what we call a backwards R, in Russian is called a ya.
Yeah.
So does she go to Toys R Us and say, "That's Toys Ya Us"?
When she first saw it, yes.
Did she really?
Yeah.
See, I've often thought that, right?
Yeah.
It's not Toys R Us, it's Toys Ya Us. Isn't that funny?
And it's just interesting to hear her ask questions, because her tutors probably get 1 million questions twice a week.
So
I get about 2 million. So.
I got you. So she goes twice a week?
Yes.
So how does the person feel when they're coming to the Marion County Literacy Council for the first time? Are they embarrassed because they need help?
I think it's a mix. I've seen some potential students come in, heard their stories, and it's a realization that, hey, I can't get anywhere. I can flip burgers all my life.
Yeah, right.
But I can't get anywhere if I don't know how to read. I've seen parents bring in their now 18 and 19-year-old children, all young adults.
Right.
And my child dropped out of school in the 9th grade.
Oh, my goodness.
And he or she now needs to know how to read so that they can function in our society.
And even by the 9th grade, they didn't learn.
No.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah. Another indicator that blew me away is nationally, the projection on how many prison cells we need. One of the indicators is how many people can and cannot read at their level in the 3rd grade.
Right.
In the 3rd grade.
You know, I was having this discussion with Karen and Marisol Sepulveda. The task that they have to raise money so that they can continue doing what they do is probably greater than many organizations, because this particular organization, there's no real poster child. You can't get a cute little face. You know, not to say that everybody's not cute. It's just it doesn't. It's like let's use the Humane Society to stay away from people. I mean, a cute little puppy, and everyone's, oh, I want to help the little puppy, you know? But whose face do you put on this poster? I mean, you're talking about some guy who's really had a rough life, and he's probably weathered a little bit, and there he is. Now, the 19-year-old might be a better person. But I think the importance, and you made an important point earlier, you were talking about the parents being the first teachers. And if that parent can't read, hello, then it's going to be a perpetuating thing.
Imagine not being able to read and understand the word caution or hazard and what it does, the obviously bad potential it has to affect you.
Yeah, right.
And we've got a lot of that.
And that's everyday life, because people are working with laundry soaps. They're driving down the road if they are lucky enough to have a driver's license. And they need to know what all of those signs say. You just cannot live on symbols all of your life.
Right. Yeah. So it's the most important thing that we do. It's a boss of mine used to compare things that were important to you, like a hand of cards. It's one of those aces you cannot be without.
Oh, I like that.
And it's just like math, and it's just like a lot of other things. But reading is the thing. If you can't read road signs when you're on a trip, how do you know where you're going? How do you know when you're going to reach, Tuncumcari?
The new facility. Let's talk about that a little bit. The new facility is right next to the post office,
Right across the street.
and it's the building that used to be Goldman Appliances.
Yes.
And you guys have done a fabulous job. It looks awesome. You've done a great job. I haven't been inside yet, but from the outside. But I was inside. I used to buy hoses for my washing machine in there. So I have been in there, but not since you fixed it up. What is available at the new facility? Do you have a number of classrooms you can tell us about? Is it you got the ability to serve more people?
We have the ability to serve more people. We also have and with that ability, it allows us to have a more favorable learning atmosphere. The last place we were was in the strip center on US 27, just
Right.
before the interstate. This facility has a computer lab in it, to where we can do our testing with our students.
Yeah.
We have a library that's got all sorts of resources, and we've got a huge training room that can actually be divided into training room and well, I'll talk to you about that when we get to the event.
All right.
And 10 study rooms, 4 of which are for group, and 6 are for one-on-one. We do a lot of one-on-one tutoring, and the tutoring that we do is adult basic English, and that's for folks to be able to improve their literacy skills. And we do ESOL, which is what Natalie, my wife, is involved with, and that's English for speakers of other languages. And the question we had the other day was, how many are Hispanic?
Right.
And I thought that was an interesting question. About 55%.
Okay. So Hispanic being, you mean specifically Spanish speaking, not other languages?
Yeah, pretty much, because when you get into...
Is that a misconception? Do you think a lot of people think that if somebody doesn't speak English, they must speak Spanish? I mean, obviously you could speak any language in the world.
I think in certain parts of Florida, especially and perhaps in the Southwest, I think that's perhaps an unwarranted assumption.
Yeah, you're
Now,
right.
do you help in attitude also with people? Because sometimes they'll get frustrated if they can't learn a language right away to fit in, and then they might quit the program. How do you help their attitude to stay and tell them you can do this? This is something that's all of a sudden is going to click with you.
That really lies with the tutor for the most part, and when he or she, the tutor, realizes that there's an issue or a problem, that then they talk with the student, and also they get Marisol involved to talk with the student. we don't like to see people quit.
No, not at all.
And the services are on gratis. That people don't have to pay for their services when they come in.
There's a $30
to learn.
registration fee that gets the testing done to determine what level the student comes in at for their particular program. And then the books are basically free. We're doing this sustainability campaign to help with all those resources that we need, because some people just simply can't even pay the $30.
Right, that's what I was
Right.
thinking too. I
Right.
mean, to get the ball rolling, I mean, we could maybe all chip in a little bit and get everybody's first payment made or something
Yeah.
like that, you know?
So what we're doing with this campaign is we are raising funds to continue with all the work that we do. When you think about the fact that we've got, and Manal has the figures more in her mind than I have, but the tutor hours that have been put in equate to in the range of $63,000 to $65,000 a year.
Wow.
And when you think of that, and you think that we do all these things on a budget of $163,000 a year, 2 paid staff and 1 half paid staff, it's miraculous, actually.
Let me just introduce Dr. Manal Fakhoury. Just came into the room looking pretty as ever. Good morning, doctor. Good morning, Manal.
She's gorgeous.
How you doing?
Good morning. Thanks for having me again.
Did you just come back from New York
I did. It was like 2 in the morning by the time I rolled into my driveway.
this morning?
This morning.
Oh my goodness.
And that's not why I'm late. I figured we had great coverage with Jim, and I thought Karen would be here, so I wasn't concerned. I thought it was going to be an overkill, but I'm always happy to be here when I can be to speak about great projects like the Marion County Literacy Council.
Yeah, yeah. Let me ask you this. I started the interview, Manal, with my recollection of as a child being asked by a teacher why we wanted to learn how to read. And I felt, of course you had your own reasons. And I'm wondering, do the teaching techniques that we use for children, are they the same for adults? Or is there a different approach?
I would say they're very similar because a lot of times you have to find that starting point, in the simplest form, meaning the alphabet, and that goes with any language, truly. So we do know through research that a child can learn faster and absorb things, and possibly that has to do with so much of what we have in our minds. As we're getting older, we're filling that capacity. But yes, it's a very similar technique that you would adopt.
The news this morning indicated that in January 1st of 2014, the GED test is going to be completely electronic. Do you prepare people for the GED test? Is that part of what you do also?
Yes, one of the services that Literacy Council provides is preparation for GED.
Okay.
As well as preparation for citizenship, so that applicants can pass the citizenship test. And as I said earlier, we've had 4 applicants pass their citizenship test this year, which is absolutely fantastic.
That is real. That must be a proud moment for them too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And even though I had not heard that about it becoming electronic, I'm in favor of that because I think we have to force ourselves sometimes to learn a skill that we don't know. And
That's true.
There's some people that are not as familiar with even I remember taking my very first and only online course, not liking it and being a little bit challenged, but it's a good challenge because it moves you forward in using that computer to do more than we've ever been able to do before.
Kind of like almost everything that we kind of have to do. We're resistant to it at first, and then later on we appreciate it.
Correct.
Probably true for learning to read. I'm guessing a lot of the students, that they might, like Robin pointed out, maybe they're embarrassed, maybe they're reluctant for another reason, maybe their social skills are an issue. So I'm guessing that you kind of have to be mini psychiatrists, right?
Yeah, and the tutors have a feel for some of that as they receive the new students, and of course through the entry testing to find out what level the student will come in at. That gives a lot of information to be used, and the tutors work so hard with these students. It's just it's amazing, and we're hoping to see a lot of our tutors at our event Thursday evening.
And you also teach math skills at the Literacy Council because that is extremely important to read, write, and to know how to figure.
We provide teaching or tutoring on balancing a checkbook or writing a check, and reading your bank statement. Health literacy. They have a whole section on health literacy as well. So we cover a gamut of areas that absolutely benefit any student who walks through the door.
You know, the work that you're both doing to raise awareness of the need for a literacy council is outstanding. We've witnessed it just because you know what, we are exposed, Robin and I, and the radio station in general, to a lot of different groups that need community support, need community awareness. Sometimes the thing they fall short on is getting that out there. So you're doing an outstanding job. And I'm guessing if we're 19% and the next town up the road is 19% and everybody's 19%, then I'm guessing the Marion County Literacy Council probably serves as some kind of a role model as to how to better educate the public so that we can all help. Because I think in general we all want to help.
Right. And I think the core, we have to remember the core of what we're doing is literacy. And I think it's super exciting if you put yourself in a scenario where if you can read and you're able to change that, how much better your life would be. And I think it's exciting for any individual that makes that decision, is motivated, wants to improve themselves, that we have an avenue, we're offering a center where they can come and do this. So I think, you know, it's a thrill to see someone improve their life.
And when we attend on Thursday evening, when the public attends on Thursday evening, are they able to also meet not only Karen and you guys, but are they able to meet the tutors as well?
Tutors will be there. Our founder, Barbara Woodson, will be there. The building will be dedicated to Barbara Woodson and to Karen Hill for all the really wonderful and fantastic work that they've done in the last 7 years with literacy in the county. We'll also have our board of directors folks will be there. All the members will be there to help familiarize guests with what we're doing, what the campaign's about. We haven't got to that part. There'll be tours. We've got some high school students that have been trained, and they're going to take visitors on a tour. The dedication ceremony is it starts at 6 to 6:30.
Okay. Let's talk about the part we didn't get to, the campaign.
We have many ways. I'll let Manal talk about that.
Well, we'll both talk about it, but the campaign is important, and I think, you know, it's rare. It's not very often that an organization is going to have a capital campaign, and we are calling this our capital campaign. Our goal is $100,000. You can donate anywhere from $10 to a naming opportunity of $40,000 for one room in at the Literacy Council. There are some, which I think is also very cool. If you want to honor someone, you want to have permanency, and really say, you know, make a statement, say, you know, I support Marion County, I support the Literacy Council. There's even naming opportunities for $5,000, which is, you know, rare. You know, you can't have your name on it. And something Karen always states is you're not buying a room. You know, when you're doing that naming opportunity, you're basically covering what's happening inside that room, which is really phenomenal.
Which is more important, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
We also have the learning, or is it the learning tree, Jim? Is that what we're calling it?
Tree of Knowledge.
The Tree of Knowledge.
Tree of Knowledge.
Okay, I'll let you talk about
And this is whose brainchild? This is your brainchild?
No,
Actually, it came from Lisa Varner, who's a member of the board of directors, and she's an employee of hospice. And they have a tree, I believe, of remembrance in hospice.
Okay.
Yes.
It's got leaves and apples. Excuse me. And so we've taken that up. It's a walnut tree, and we have leaves that can be purchased. They're $250. Apple is $500, and horse, since we're in horse country, USA, of $1,000 each. And we've already got several apples and leaves and 2 horses.
Oh, excellent. Good job.
Spoken for, and several rooms. So the campaign's moving along. We wanted to be at 33,000 by 6 o'clock Thursday evening, and we might be a little short. But this is an ongoing campaign. It just doesn't start Thursday and end a month from Thursday. So it's ongoing.
And I think, you know, when you, just to tap into what I was trying to say before about your excellent campaigning, I think we all want to help. It goes back to that. You could get one gazillionaire out there, or you can get a gazillion $10 people.
Exactly.
One way or the other. I knew a guy who sold Baldwin pianos, and Baldwin pianos was like the cheapest piano that they made, right? But they sold lots of them. And he said, look, this guy who sells Steinways only has to sell one. I've got to sell 100. And it's the same way. You get a lot of people who can help out a little. And I like the idea that I can help out even though I'm a nobody. I like the idea that I can hand a few dollars over and make a little ripple in the pond, so to speak.
Well, you're not a nobody. No one's a nobody. Everyone's
All right.
a somebody. But I also appreciate that we need to mention that it is tax deductible. And the website, if anyone is interested in what we're talking about, is marionliteracy.org.
All right.
You can donate there. You can learn more about the Marion County Literacy Council. Again, it's a digital age. Anything you hear about, you can verify. You can get more information. You can connect. So we invite you to do that.
All
And
right.
we think it's very clever that in your campaign materials, you actually created a bookmark. So that way, after the campaign is done, people can still keep their bookmarks and use it to mark their place in their own books. And always remember what good works the Marion County Literacy Council does for others.
By the way, if you ever want to experience what it's like to be illiterate, take them one of those DVD movies, turn off the sound, and choose another language that you don't understand for the closed caption.
Yeah.
And you'll be, what is going on in this movie? Right? That's a good way to kind of experience it.
Right.
I mean, if you can't travel to another country where you don't know the language. But you guys are doing an awesome job. Robin and I fell in love with the Literacy Council, I guess the first time we visited there. And you know what happened? Did I ever share this with you, Manal? Karen opened up one of the doors to one of the classrooms just to show us. And we knew one of the guys in there.
Yeah.
And I said, Robin, I had no idea that this guy didn't know how to read. Now, I don't think he saw us. So
No.
I mean, I wouldn't want to embarrass him at all. But I said, good for him. He's probably doing something to get a better job, learning how to read. And there he was. And maybe that was part of what stimulated us to being passionate about it. So thank you for coming in today. And thank you for, more importantly, for what you're doing for this community. The community becomes better because of what you do. So.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Dr. Manal Fakhoury and Jim Nelson, thank you both. We will take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store